Today we're going to be talking about microcurrent. We're going to be using the TriWave, and I'm going to show you guys how to use the silver gloves to do lymphatic drainage, fascia release, and firming of the muscle tissues. So head on over there. So excited to have this conversation. I know you guys have been asking me for a long time about this topic, and I've been putting it off because I really wanted everyone to get their TriWaves and have some practice using it, play with the mask, play with the probes, and get, pretty good and comfortable using the things that come with your TriWave. The gloves are an addition. You can add them on. We sell them on the website. And so they're a little something extra that you can do with your TriWave. Now, before we get started, I want to let you guys know that anytime you're doing microcurrent, the skin needs to be really in good condition and well exfoliated. So in a gentle manner. A lot of people use kind of harsh acids or scrubs to exfoliate their face. And I want to say to you guys, my favorite exfoliants are enzymes. So I brought 2 enzymes today to show you guys. I use these at least twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. One is Botnia Essential Enzymes. This can be used as a cleanser and left on the skin for a few minutes and then rinse it off. Enzymes are that element that goes after, like Pac-Man. They go after those dead, dry skin cells and just eat them up, dissolve them away. So Botnia Essential Enzymes is excellent. You can use it as a cleanser or you can leave it on as a mask. You guys know I also like to combine it with my Dermadisc. The other enzyme that I love is from Neogenesis, and it's the Neogenesis Enzyme Cream Mask. And this one, when you first start using it, feels quite tingly. So you put on that mask, leave it on, and then rinse it off. And sometimes I put this on, sit in the bathtub, and I'll even put saran wrap over my face, leaving some holes to breathe and eyes to see, and let that saran wrap really help it activate and do its work in the skin to remove the dead skin cells. The other thing that I do for exfoliation and for skin firming, brightening, the youthful elixir, I feel like this is the dream elixir. I'm so happy with this product. Is Clinical came out with this year. They've been working on it for several years, and this is the retinol emulsion 0.3%. I use this only 2 or 3 times per week, and it's transformative, you guys. It really helps to lift off dead, dull, damaged skin cells so that fresh new baby cells can come to the surface, as well as really stimulating those collagen cells, stimulating collagen production so that the skin is plumper, juicier, and firmer. I'm in love with this stuff. So those are kind of the prerequisites to doing and using microcurrent and having it be really effective for your skin. Okay, before I get started, the first thing I do is I grab a bowl, and I put into my bowl warm water, and then I put in the Botnia Rose Water Toner. I love the aromatherapy in there. There's a lot of great ingredients, and it really harmonizes my water for me. So I have nice warm water, and I have my gloves resting in there. So they are good and ready to go. Let's explain. For those of you who maybe don't have a TriWave or are new to your TriWave, we have 3 settings on our TriWave. We have Rejuve, which is all about lymphatic drainage. Lymphatic drainage, I think, is the most important part of this device and of microcurrent therapy. We all tend to think of microcurrent therapy as being this firming thing, but it's very limiting if you're only using the waveform for addressing muscles in the skin. With this device, we are going after lymph, we are going after fascia, and then we were going after muscles. So it's really doing a much deeper and more complete treatment for the entire face. And for me, lymph is the most important. Anyone who's suffering with premature jowling, that is due to lymph. If your skin is dry, that has to do with lymph and fascia. So it's really important that we have all of these 3 waveforms in our TriWave. So the first thing that I do when I treat is I use the Rejuve. The other one we have is Erase. Erase is for the fascia. That's going to erase tension and crystals that have built up in the fascia. The fascia is what houses your hyaluronic acid. So we want to free up the fascia so that we get that moisture and that hyaluronic acid moving through the skin. And then the other setting that we have is Educate, and that's your more traditional form of microcurrent, and that's what's hitting you at that muscle level and really stimulating healthy muscle tissue. So when I use my device, I start with Rejuve, the big button, and I do that for 10 minutes. So when I'm doing Rejuve, I know that I am moving lymph through the system, and I'm retraining my lymphatic system to be healthier. Now, if we just move lymph through the face, but the lymph in the neck and the chest is stagnant and stuck, this lymph has nowhere to go. And sometimes you'll even get a little tender or a little swollen lymph nodes here because that lymph is coming down and getting stuck right here. So there's some things that we need to do before doing our TriWave, and that is using the Onma. When I use the Onma, the first thing I'm doing before the Onma is I'm gonna do some pounding on my chest, just very gentle knocking on my chest, just to loosen up things, stimulate my immune system. And then I'm gonna grab my Onma and I'm just gonna do some drainage outward. So I'm just really wanting to release any lymph that's built up in this area. You can use it on the arms through here. We wanna go underneath the collarbones and above the collarbones. It's nice if you have a little more slip. You can use your gel, the gel that we're going to be using for our microcurrent. You can apply some gel. May as well get started here, getting my gel on. And then when I'm using my device, it's rolling over the skin. Now the Onma has this long piece. The handle is what I like to use for lymphatic drainage, and I'm not using it straight onto the skin. I'm actually turning it to the side, so I'm getting a bit of this sweeping action through here. It almost acts like a vacuum as it moves that lymph along. If you just think of it almost like swelling or liquid in the tissue, and you're just grabbing it and moving it along. Let's do that on the other side as well. This was really driven home to me in the last few weeks, that you've got to do more than just draining the face, that it's got to come down. It has to have somewhere to go. I actually got a new piercing in my ear a few weeks ago, and I had, the very next day I did my TriWave treatment with my lymphatic drainage, and then I got this kind of swollen spot on my lymph gland right here, and it felt kind of sore. And I know it's because it was reacting, my immune system was reacting to the new piercing. And all I had to do was some simple movements. But what I'd done is I'd done my treatment with a mask for lymphatic drainage, but I didn't do any drainage for this area. So I just came through with my hand and just started very gently throughout the day, moving that lymph along, and within an hour or two, it was gone. The bump was gone and it had moved down. But it's so important that we follow through and think of our face as connected to our necks and our whole bodies, and the lymphatic system is one whole huge system. We don't want to just be draining the face. We want to take care and come right down in here and treat this area as well. So I will do this before I do my face, and then at the end of doing my face, I'll come down and I'll clear out everything that I drained from my face back down. So next thing that you need when you're going to be using your gloves is you do want to get some gel on your face. It's just going to help to conduct. I'm using the Hop Promoter Collagen Gel. I love this gel. It's so much more than a conductive gel because it has the PLLA in it. It's got peptides, growth factors. It reads like an anti-aging moisturizer or serum. And since we're going to be driving whatever's in the skin, or whatever's on the skin, we're going to drive into the skin. So why not use something that has really beneficial ingredients in it? So I've got my collagen gel on. I am going to also spritz the skin with the Isocell Recovery Solution because I want to have those minerals. The minerals really help conduct the microcurrent. And now I'm going to grab my gloves. I'm going to wring them out a little bit so they're not too drippy wet all over the place. The gloves must be wet in order to conduct. You cannot do this with dry gloves. You won't get a good conduction and it won't work. So here I've got my glove. My glove is already, well, let's tighten up my connection. I've connected to my TriWave. I'm going to go ahead and push that connector down all the way. And there is one glove. The other one is well connected. I'm going to put it on. So I like to wet these, some Isocell. So they're already wet, and then I added a little bit of Isocell on top of there, just to be clear. Now I'm grabbing my device. I'm going to push Rejuve twice. So I'm on level 2 Rejuve, which is my lymphatic drainage, and then I'm going to push Run. Now you can see I have a little bar on here, and my bar is nice and solid because I have good conduction going on right now with my skin. So when we're down here now, we've done some lymphatic drainage for the neck. We can continue to do like this, moving this out. And then I'm going to come right up to the forehead and get busy. So on the forehead, we are draining the lymphatics. We are just nice movements out. And we're just going to do this 3 to 5 times in a nice, even, light pressure and kind of a slow movement. So do some deep breathing while you're doing this and enjoy the sensations. I'm going to come right on the brows. I'm up here, one finger under the brow and one above, and I'm going to drain there. And I'm going to come under the eyes. And I can do both eyes as well, up and down. Another way I like to drain eyes is with the outer edges of my fingers. And I just go across. I'm going to come in here. You know, we have this area in here where sometimes where your sinuses are and you have lots of pressure points in here that can often feel tender. I'm going to come in on each side of my nose. Again, I'm using my fingers kind of like you would use the edge of your anma. Coming in here and just making that pressure, gentle pressure, moving that lymph out to the edges. Now I can go ahead and take hold and pull everything that we've done so far down. So we're releasing it. I'm coming from the forehead and pulling it down. This is a wonderful self-care routine, you guys. When you're doing it, don't think of like, I'm doing this work because my skin's bad and I've got to fix it. Try to break out of that and just get into that thought and that loving place of this feels good. This is nourishing my body and it feels really good and I love myself. So I'm going to come in here underneath Again, and then pushing it out. You can use your whole hands. Imagine if my face was puffy and I wanted to move that puffiness out. That's what you're thinking about when you're moving your lymph. And down. I'm going to come one finger above and below here. Pushing it out. And then let's do the movement where we're going out and then pulling it down. Coming underneath and flushing it down. Underneath and flushing down. And then we're going to flush out the collarbone area. And then we can do our little knocking. And really, that's it, you guys. Lymphatic drainage is we're just moving all that fluid out and down. It can go around the ears. We can get lymphatic in that area. You can go up here and drain there. It just feels good. Do what feels good. So that's been about 5 minutes, and I could spend longer and you could spend longer. You can spend more time really doing a few more passes, enjoying how it feels, but even just as much as 5 minutes like I've done right now is super beneficial to your system. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna move into erase. So we're gonna move into fascia. So I'm gonna push pause. And then I'm going to push erase 2 times. Actually, I'm going to push it 3 times because you only have to, if you're already in level 2, you only have to push the button once. And I always forget that. So I'm in erase, level 2, and I'm going to make sure you turn it back on. See, there's no bar down here. That's not conducting any electricity. So we've got to push run. And there we have our bar. Okay, I'm going to get my fingers wet in my water. So I know I have good conduction going on. And erase, when we're thinking about erasing the tension lines. We have these chronic areas of tension where we hold. This is mine. My lips are, I'm just all pinched. That's my chronic holding pattern. I want to release that fascia. When that fascia is continually held like that, it gets little adhesions, gets these little crystal buildup in there, and flow stops and we get stagnation. So I want to get in here and I want to release my areas of tension. So big area for me is my 11s, and you can come in and work your 11s like this. You can also come in and work one side at a time. You can come in here and open, pull this open, stretch through here, and do the other side, stretching this open. And if you've got those vertical lines going across your forehead, you can come in here and just open those up. Actually, those are horizontal lines. We've got the horizontal lines on the forehead. Come in here and spend some time just moving those little puppies apart. It doesn't take a lot of pressure. We're not going down to the muscle level. You'll often see me use more pressure than I need, and it's because it feels good. But really, to work the fascia, you don't have to have that much pressure. It's very light pressure. Opening up the forehead area, coming over to the eyes, get in here, and we have, you know, the tension that makes those little crow's feet. So we can come in here and just very gently opening the eye area. We're doing these 3 to 5 times. Let's do the other side. Now, a muscle that gets very stagnant in us as we age is this area right through here. So it's very important to come in here and release that upper lip and along the eye area. And I even come all the way up at times. If you've never done this one before, it can feel a little crunchy and it can feel a little painful even. So we want to break up that stagnation so that we don't have that drooping upper lip. Also, if we get kitty whiskers, this area can get really tight through here. I'm a kitty whisker girl. I get these little whiskers on the sides of the nose. So this is where I'm going in and I'm releasing that area. Opening up my eyes. So once you go around, you find that tension, the tension areas in your eyes, and you release those, you could move down to the mouth area. And around here, we're wanting to release that tension around the lips, but we're also wanting to release that tension. For me, I am the frowner, habitual frowning. So imagine there's this big muscle right here pulling down, and I want to stretch that, release it. Releasing along the lip. I'm going to come in here one more time. Lengthen that muscle. And let's go over to the other side and do the other side. Finding that muscle. If you frown, you feel it. A chunky little muscle in there. And just gently release. And now I've really released the prominent tension areas of tension in my face. Feels really pretty good and solidly relaxed. So now, and erase, you'll find that you usually use about half the amount of time on erase that you would use on your rejuve setting. So now I'm going to head over here. I'm going to push pause. I am going to hit educate. And I'm already on level 2. And I want to get my bar activated, so I've got to push run so that now we know we're running again. I've done it before. I'm sure you guys have probably done it too, where you just start going away, doing your treatment, and then you look down and realize, oh, I'm still on pause. So want to see that black bar and make sure that it's working. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on doing some lifting. A common area that people want to lift and are concerned about is this neck area. So the thing you need to know about using the gloves and doing your lifting moves is that you want to work one side at a time. If I'm working 2 sides at the same time, it's not conducting the electricity along that muscle path that I want to be running it. So if I hold one hand here and the other hand coming up, then I'm conducting between these two areas with my electricity. And it's following the path of that muscle that's in there. And I can come here, come up, and lift, lift. And you can see, the neat thing about using the gloves, you can see where you have that looseness, and you can imagine, okay, I'm lifting this up. And then once you lift, then you're going to want to just hold it in that pinch position. So I've got one finger on each side of the muscle back here, and I'm coming underneath here, and I'm just lifting up and then pinching and hold it. Nice little count of 5 once I get up there to hold it. And I'm going to do that again 3 to 5 times on each side. Now we can also work side to side. So I can work this way. I can put one hand here and one hand here, and I can do some movement over. I'm going on the side of my thyroid there. Move and pinch and hold. Pinch and hold. Pinch and hold. And here, because we're working at that muscle level, we're working a bit deeper. So it's okay to use a little bit deeper pressure as we work on pinching and stimulating that muscle in there. So let's do this side. One finger on each side. Look at that. I mean, it's already firmer. I love it. You can come back in and go, okay, where is it still hanging out where I could use a little more firmness? Come in and do a few more times. And our next step we want to move up to is our jawline and really firming that jawline. So again, here, this is a movement where we've come up here and we're holding a hand here. So we're going to bring this hand up to meet the other hand and create a pinch. So we're running that current through this little jawbone area. The beauty of this device is that even if you don't do a movement and you just hold here and then you come up here and you hold on the cheekbone, you're going to get a great treatment. But we're going to go here and hold. And then let's move up. We'll do one side of the face and then the other, doing our holding here. So then I'm going to come up and you can see what you're wanting to lift, which is the beauty of it. It's like, oh yeah, I'd kind of like to lift this a little bit. And then you're coming in here and you're pinch and hold. So I can go lift and hold. Lift. Pinch and hold. Same right around the mouth and the upper part of the mouth here. Come in here and hold. And this, I want to really emphasize that you can really be playful with this and with this device. You can have fun. Don't be intimidated by it. If you look at your face, look how much firmer that side of my face is now. If you just look at your face and you play around with it a little bit and go, yeah, could use, this would be nice to lift this up a little bit. Go ahead and do that. Just get in there. Oh yeah, let's just lift that. Let's do this little movement here. Let's lift this little frowny thing going on here. And then sit back and look at what you've done and go, okay, that's pretty good. I'm liking that. That's looking really good. I'm gonna get my hands wet again, just my fingertips. And I'm going to come in and let's do the other side of the jawline. So we're coming up under the neck and then holding at the jawline here. Just my nice little pinch. I don't want to be touching my hands together. I want to make sure that I'm conducting from one to the other. Coming up here. We're just enlivening this muscle. We're sending good ATP energy into that muscle tissue so that it's nice and healthy. I can get in here where I have my frannies. I can come in and do a little work in here, kind of lifting that outer lip. I can come in if I want to work on my lips a little bit. I can come in here and do some lip sculpting, holding one finger above the lip and the other one underneath that lip line. So you can spend as much time as you want on your mouth area or your jawline, whichever area it is that you're wanting to stimulate and invigorate. So next we're going to move up to the eye area. And so working on firming the eyes, I have my droopy little eyelids. So I like to come in, I use one set, and I try not to rest on your head because you're conducting your whole hand. Get above the brow and then come right under here and pinch and hold. Pinch and hold. Pinch and hold. Let's go back over here again. Pinch and hold. Sometimes you'll see, especially when you hit the bone here, you'll see a little flashing light. That's okay. It's just the microcurrent bouncing off the bone. If it bothers you or it makes you feel nauseous or a headache, just turn down the strength. Right now I'm sitting at intensity 300. You could lower that intensity if you don't want to see that strobing on there. And if at any point you see muscles twitching, dripping, if you see some muscle twitching, that's when you want to turn it down for sure. We don't want to have muscle twitching while we're doing our treatment. The purpose of this treatment is to build the ATP in the cells. If we have muscle twitching, we are expending ATP. So we're doing the opposite of what we want to have happening. So any device that's causing your skin to do that twitching, that's not what our aim and our goal is. It's not going to be good for what you're doing. This is the biggest habit here, resting my hand on my top of my head, and I do it all the time. So really paying attention to where your hands are because your whole hand is conducting. That's pretty good. Let's do the other side. I'm gonna switch hands up. There we go. I'm just counting to 5 in my head as I hold. Now, depending on the size of your eyes, if you have really tiny eyes, you can use your pinkies. You can adjust the size, what you're doing. This is my good eye. This eye, I always do this. I start with my droopy eye, then I go over to my good eye and get it really lifted up. And then I go back over here to the droopy eye and give it a second treatment. And you know, it's not even really that it's droopy, it's just that we're not asymmetrical, you guys. Our faces are different. And a lot of times I'll get people who reach out and say, how do I fix this inconsistency going on? And I have to tell you guys that sometimes if it's musculature, you can work with a professional with microcurrent and they can help you to balance that out. But really, you guys, no one is symmetrical. We're all a little bit different from side to side, and we just have to love those differences about ourselves. It's not something to feel self-conscious about or worry about. Oh, I did it. I lifted that eye. Pretty good. I love it. So this is the gloves, you guys. This is how easy it is to use the gloves and just get in there and have some fun. Even if you don't know exactly where the muscles are and which directions they go in your face, you can do it intuitively. Getting in here, working one side and then the other side. You cannot hurt yourself. You can do just good things. What you don't want to do is come down here and pull like that. That would not be good. Don't want to do a downward movement. But as long as it's an upward and uplifting movement, when you're doing educate, you want all upward flowing movements. When you're doing rejuve, which is your lymphatics, that's when you're going to do more flowing and downward movements because that's when you're draining the lymphatics down. When you're doing educate, everything is about lifting. We're coming in here and we're just lifting everything up. And so keeping that in mind. And then when we're doing our erase, it's just about releasing the tension. You can find that tension areas in your face. You can see them usually because you'll have little lines, little tension lines, and just work on pulling the line apart. If the line is going this way, pull it. Let me switch over to erase. There we go. I'm back on erase now, and I'm just, if I see a line going up and down this way, I'm just gonna open it this way. If I see a line going this way, I'm gonna open it this way. So with my little crow's feet, I'm going and opening again. So the fold is going this way, so I'm gonna open them up this way very gently. Little tiny movements, lifting those little crow's feet out, getting some circulation in there so that those deepening lines don't turn into deeper folds. So I come in here and erase the lines around my lips. So much fun. So I have a special group over on Facebook, and it's called the AOS Tri-Wave Community. If you guys have questions about any of these treatments, that is the place to go. Everybody who has a Tri-Wave joins in there, and we share tips, we share what's working, what's not working, and encourage each other. So even if you don't have a Facebook account, maybe just set up a little obscure Facebook account just so you can get into that group and join in that conversation. It'll really help you get your Tri-Wave out of the box and enjoy using it in a lot of different ways. It's super fun. Okay, you guys, I'm so glad that you are here. I was glad to be able to share that with you guys. Send me your questions. Reach out through the Facebook group. Send me questions and concerns. I'd love to hear from you. And I'd love to hear once you get your gloves and start doing some treatments, do some before and after pictures, you guys, even if you don't send them to me or share them with the group, just to have for yourself, because many times people don't think something's working, but if they go back and look at the picture progressions, they realize, oh, my skin really does look different. We see this often with acne clients, that they think they're not getting clearer, but then when we show them the pictures from day 1 to, day 60, it's dramatically different, and they realize, oh, I am getting clear. It's just that I'm so self-focused and worried about it still that I'm not seeing it. So take your pictures, keep track of what you're doing, and enjoy it. Have fun with it. All right, you guys, take care, and I'll see you again next week.